Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Teal Garcia, and on this channel we do everything related to photography. We do editing, we do behind the scenes, we do business help, all of the photography things. So if that interests you, please hit the subscribe button and join me for more videos. Since now it is 2021 and it's the beginning of a new year, I wanted to do a video really quick about some things that I think happen when you are a beginner photography, that if you can avoid these things, or if you're already doing them, stop doing them, to kind of help you grow a little better, a little faster, a little healthier. Photography is definitely a journey, and I think these four things, it's four things that I've come up with that if you stop doing these things, then they are going to help you so much when you are a beginner photographer. Let's get into it. The very first one that I'm sure if you've watched any videos at all that are aimed at beginner photographers, it is not comparing yourself to others. I know, you've heard it before, everybody's going to keep saying it, it's really hard to do. I mean, you really shouldn't do that in life in general. Never compare your life to somebody else's life. It's just going to make you feel bad about yourself. But the reason for this in photography is it can really drag you down. If your goals, and if you've set goals and I want to do this in this many years, and I want to grow, and I want to learn, and I want to take amazing photos, and then you keep looking at other people's photos and comparing, like, oh, my photos are never going to be that good, or like, why don't mine look like that? They're using the same camera. I think we use the same presets when we edit. Why don't mine look like that? Like, you're just going to end up tearing yourself down, and that's just really not like a healthy way to be anyways. And if you think about it, a lot of it happens mostly in like photography groups, like, oh, I'll never be good as all of you, or whatever. You can't compare yourself to somebody who has been doing this longer than you. Like, it's just not fair. That's with anything. Like, people that get on Instagram and compare themselves to, like, oh, I've been working out for 2 months and she works out too. Why don't I look like her? Well, because your 2 months of working out, you're not going to look like somebody who's been working out for 2 years. Like, it doesn't work that way. Your photos at 6 months are not going to look the same as somebody who's been shooting probably for like 6 years. So just stop comparing yourself to people. It's not healthy. I do think that looking at other photographers' work is a healthy thing. It gives you ideas, it gets juices flowing, it makes you inspired. There's reasons to look at other people's work, but don't compare it to yours. Just accept it, it's a beautiful photo, and move on. The next one that I want to talk about is something that happens a lot in like photography groups or forums, or I've even gotten emails about it. It's asking for other people's advice when it comes to pricing. So say you're still kind of a beginner, but you're like kind of interested in knowing, if I was going to do this, if I was going to start a business, what should my pricing be? And it's okay to ask for general like pricing information, but what I'm talking about is something I actually saw today, and that's kind of what inspired the whole video, because I was like, I hate when people do this. Let's say you're building your portfolio and you really want to know what people would pay for those. Posting those in a group and saying, hey, group of people all over the United States, all over different countries, what would you pay for these? It's not helpful. And if that's how you're going to come up with your like pricing, or if that's how you want to gauge how you're doing or how far you're coming, it's just going to kind of like stop you in your tracks, because especially what I saw today, people aren't going to be honest with you, unfortunately. I'm sorry to break it to you. So the person that posted this, actually in a group that I saw, posted it 2 days ago, and there was no comments on it. There was a few like reactions, but there was no comments on it, because nobody can tell you what to charge. And also, I'm in the spirit of being honest, the photos weren't that good. So we're all trained to, if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all. So if you have posted and asked for people's opinions on your photos and you're not getting an opinion, then people don't have anything nice to say. So, and also, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what other people would charge, because we don't know where you live. I can charge more in Hawaii than I could in Oklahoma. It doesn't matter. Like, that's the, like, stop doing that. Stop asking other people for things in your business, if that makes sense. Stop asking people for such broad. I think that's actually why a lot of people kind of start charging. I think that it happens, and it kind of, so let's say, okay, hold up. See, so I get emotional about things, and I just have to take a breath. Okay, so I think that this kind of thing leads to people charging sooner than they're ready. Because let's say, for example, this post that didn't get any attention or any answers, let's say it had gotten some. So somebody out there who really just started sees these photos and they're like, Psh, I love photos of my kids like that. And they're like, I would at least pay $50 for these. Like, that's great. That is now encouraging that person to go out probably before they're ready and be like, well, somebody on the internet said I could make at least $50 for these. So I think that jumping into the pond too early, asking about pricing too early, asking super broad, like, who cares what the internet thinks kind of questions. I know this category was like a little, it definitely bounced all over the place, but mostly comes down to, don't ask broad pricing questions. Don't put your photography on a platter and ask the internet what they would pay for it. It's just very, I don't know. I'm having a really hard time explaining what I'm trying to get. If you get it, if you understand what I'm trying to say, maybe give me a thumbs up for it. Yeah, I don't know. That one was hard. But I really feel like it matters because I see it all the time. Okay, so the next one that I want to talk about, the next thing that I think you should stop doing if you're a beginner photographer, is I think you should stop giving up so quickly. I know. It kind of goes back into the comparing yourself to other people. I think that when you do that, you end up giving up, thinking it's just never going to happen for you. But in general, just giving up too soon. I definitely think with like the internet and how you can just like click and like and do whatever, everything is a very like instant gratification kind of life. We live in these days this kind of instant gratification world. So when something doesn't happen right away, people get frustrated and then they just give up. Like, everybody has kind of decided that, oh, if it was meant to be, it would be easy. Well, I am a believer in, if it's easy, then what's the point in doing it? So if something is a little bit harder and you have to work for it and earn it, it's probably more worthwhile in the end. Also, I really want to know like where it's written. It has to be written somewhere. Somebody said something one time that photography is easy and it's easy money and you just get a camera and you start taking pictures and you make all the money. So it's got to be somewhere, right? Because that seems to be how people approach it. And the first thing that gets in their way, it makes them want to quit. It makes them want to give up. They can't figure out how to edit like they want. They don't want to take the time to learn Photoshop. They want to just ask somebody on the internet to fix something in a photo for them. Like, just learn. If you do photography right, if you do it the correct way, it is going to take you a long time. You have to build your knowledge base. You have to build your equipment repertoire. It takes a while. Like, I just think it's crazy that everybody's just this instant, like, I have a camera, I'm a photographer, pay me money. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, you competing with the person in your community who's been maybe shooting photography for like 5 years, you're not going to just step off the curb and get all their clients. And it's just not like that. So people get upset when clients don't come to them right away. Like I said, people get upset because they think that it's just like instant. Like, you're a photographer now, and it's definitely not how it works. So my advice is don't give up, keep going, even if it's not something that you can sustain full time because you're not making like the money that you want to make. But again, just don't give up. Like, it's great. It's weird. It's weird to me. Everybody seems to give up on everything nowadays. Like, it didn't work out. Bye. I'm gonna give up now. Like, that's so dumb. Just keep going, keep chugging along. It takes time. You'll get there. Swear. Okay, the very last thing that I want to mention, that if you are a beginner and you are doing this, you should stop, and it is taking jobs that you are not ready for or prepared for, or you don't need to be doing, I guess is how I want to put that. I'm talking about the beginner photographer, as in like, you got a camera for Christmas and now it's like January 7th. Like, you shouldn't be taking weddings. You shouldn't be photographing somebody's birth. You shouldn't be photographing a newborn in a cute little pose and a bunch of like, so all of those things require certain gear. They require certain training. They require lots of contracts. So just stop doing those things. Like, I understand. So everybody has to start somewhere. I get that. Everybody has to shoot their first wedding. Everybody has to shoot their first birth. Everybody has to shoot their first of everything. But there's a way to do it where you're not going to affect that person. Like, we're just going to talk about weddings, for example. I know that it happens a lot, and it comes up so much, that somebody will be like, hey friend, I saw you got a camera for Christmas. I'll give you $200 to shoot my wedding. And then they feel like they're getting a deal. They're going to get photographs. But this camera that you got 2 or 3 weeks ago, you don't even know how to use. So them paying you $200 you're going to ruin their wedding is what's going to happen. Like, I'm not saying it happens all the time. Don't like come at me saying, oh my God, I shot my first wedding a week after I got my camera. Like, don't do that. Most of the time, it's not going to work out. Most of the time, you are going to hand over blurry, grainy photos because, and the argument is always like, well, they knew I was just beginning. Like, they knew I didn't know what I was doing. No. By you saying, yes, I will do that for you, you are telling them you're going to deliver photographs that are presentable. They're not expecting blurry, out of focus, grainy, weird photos because you're learning how to use your camera on their wedding day. Friend, family, or otherwise, just take your time. So the first wedding that I did as a second shooter. I second shot for some people. And then I did a couple more second shooters, and then I did a couple small weddings, and then I did some more as a second shooter, and then I kind of got into big weddings. And then I decided I just don't like weddings. So it's a process. It's a process. Stop taking jobs that probably the most important one. Stop taking jobs that you're not ready for or prepared for. Thank you. Okay. So this video kind of turned into a rant, but if you're doing any of these things, I suggest that you stop. I think that 2021 can absolutely be your year. You can be a beginner photographer, and I do think there is a right way to be a beginner photographer, and there are definitely things you should avoid, the 4 that I listed. And yeah, I think that is it. That is all I have for this video. I'm done complaining. If you made it through all of my complaining and you are still here, please give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. And if you are not subscribed, please subscribe so you can join me in my future videos. And I will see you next time. Bye.